Welcome to University College Hospital in central London. Tonight we're here at the Macmillan Cancer Centre to look at the health of the health service in England. The NHS costs £117 billion a year. It's at the centre of the argument in this election, and we're putting it centre stage tonight. I'm with doctors and nurses, patients and experts, and with the Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt, alongside his counterparts from Labour and the Liberal Democrats. We'll take stock of the money, the market, and we'll look to the future, to the NHS in the years ahead. Hello, good evening. Now, the NHS in England costs about £40 a week for every person in the country. If that isn't worthy of a decent slab of election attention, I don't know what is. Tonight we're here at the Macmillan Cancer Centre at University College Hospital in central London. It was designed by the same architects as the Olympic Velodrome, and it opened in that Olympic year, when you remember the NHS was celebrated in the opening ceremony of the Games. Well, this is perhaps better equipped than most cancer centres. It had some financial help from Macmillan Cancer Support, and we thank UCH for putting us up this evening in the chemotherapy day unit. Now, in theory, an election campaign is the best time to debate the future of the NHS, because that's when the choices are made. But of course, in practice, elections are maybe the worst time for politicians to confront the public with difficult choices. So we have both politicians and an expert panel to examine the issues tonight. Because I want to bring in a patient now on this issue of fragmentation. It's Sophie Royce. I'm lucky enough to have bacterial meningitis, followed by septicemia. And since then, and we're not talking that long ago, you've had 27 operations.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was partly a result of the treatment being bungled. How many should you have had, basically? It was never going to be...
At the beginning, it should have just been 3. That just was my initial amputations, and then reconstructive surgery to my right foot.
So, sorry, what has been the effect on you as a patient from all of this?
Well, since then, I have been in hospital. I mean, last year I spent probably about 160 days in hospital on IV antibiotics, surgery after surgery, and it's completely changed my life.
And you've lost part of your toes and your fingers?
Yes, so I've lost all my toes, part of my right foot, and all my fingertips.
Now, what was the mistake? Was it to do with fragmentation of services that some of these problems arose? What was the problem?
Well, after the initial amputations, then in January of 2014, I got septicemia again in one of my surgical sites. And I went to my local hospital, and I got stuck there basically for 5 days whilst my thigh grew and grew and grew. And then after much calling to guys in St Thomas's, we finally got moved over there.
So your view would be that the specialist big centres are much better than the district hospitals for the kind of complicated cases?
My consultant has really pushed for my care. But then when you need care outside of that trust, I've needed immunology appointments because we're not entirely sure where all these infections have come from. And I had to wait over a year for an appointment. And in that year, I was in hospital 9 different times for different infections.
I mean, I think the points that we get out of Sophie's case are that think about how you organise this. One of them is bigger specialist hospitals are perhaps better equipped for complicated cases than the local district hospitals. Is there the political courage out there to say, look, we're going to resist the local effort to keep the district hospital open?
The biggest point, I mean, what happened with Sophie is a terrible tragedy. The truth is, in our NHS, we had a terrible tragedy at mid-staffs. We have around 1,000 avoidable deaths every month. Every fortnight, we're operating somewhere in the NHS on the wrong part of someone's body. And isn't actually this what we should have been discussing for the greater part of this evening? Because this is actually about doing a better job for patients. And my worry about the whole phony argument about privatisation that isn't happening is that it is a great big distraction from what really matters to patients, which is delivering safe, effective care. And that, I think, is something we've started to do, but we've got a long, long way to go.